Slippers. Hey, what's up YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Coleman's Cool Legos. And today, we are doing part 2 of 4 of our Lego Advent. This is the previous scene of our Advent. And if you haven't seen my episode about this, look to the previous episode that I posted. So, today we're going to be doing days 9 through 16, since today is the 16th. So, yeah. Before I get going, I have a few guests with me, again. So, first up is Daddy-O.
Oh! Hey,
Okay.
I feel like Slug in Star Wars. I just forgot his name. I started to say King Tut.
Jabba.
Jabba the Hutt. Trying to get over here. Sorry.
Okay, so, and then our next guest is the elf, the wild card. And as you can tell, I'm Santa. Ho, ho, ho. So, we'll be explaining our next 8 things. So, first up, we are going to need another base plate that looks like this. Ignore this right here.
Here,
But you're gonna need this.
just take it off.
No.
Oh my word.
You're gonna need these, and then this base plate right here. So, our first Advent character.
No, it's had the last scene on here, so it's out of the way.
Yeah. So to
The
get
reason
this
for these pillars here.
is to set this. Just snaps on. Right. Like
Like Thusly.
that.
Good job. So now our previous scene is incorporated into our current scene.
Okay, so now.
No, wait, let's do. Just kidding. Go ahead.
Okay, so number 9, Gabriel. Looks like a toilet seat. Much better. So, we're just gonna, for now, set him right here. Remember again, ignore this. This is nothing until day 14. So, Gabriel, well, I'm going to start off the explaining with this person right here.
For me, I'm starting with Gabriel.
Yeah.
Well, over these next 8 days, we kind of introduce characters of the nativity in here. And so one of the first ones, obviously, we need to introduce is Gabriel. Why do you ask? Because Gabriel is the one who gave the news to both Elizabeth and Mary that they were with child. Elizabeth with John the Baptist and Mary with Jesus. So he was obviously the first character to show up in the nativity story. Maybe not the nativity itself, but the nativity story. So that was his purpose.
So, that's day 9. Day 10 is Mary the poor-ish virgin. So, we're going to set her right there. Oh, hi, buddy. This is my dog. So Mary, well, she's a big part of this whole thing. As you might know, she is the mother of Jesus, the human. So she plays a very important role in this. She was visited by Gabriel, saying that you're going to have a child. And she questioned, not out of disbelief, but out of just pure curiosity. Now, when Gabriel went to go visit Zechariah, he questioned out of disbelief. That's why, Gabriel took away his voice until John the Baptist was born and stuff like that. So
You can read the story in Luke.
yeah, that's pretty much why we have done Mary. Anything to add? Anybody?
No, she's just the mother of Jesus. That's the biggest thing. She was chosen because she was chosen specifically by God for this specific thing. So
Yeah, it says she was favored in God's sight.
exactly.
Okay, so that is why we picked her for number 10. Number 11. That's Joseph, the father of Jesus. Now, he's just an ordinary carpenter who's not much is really mentioned about Joseph in the Bible.
But he was important. Why?
Because he was from the lineage of David,
Hmm.
and that's prophesied by Micah, one of the prophets at least. So that's why we have Joseph as our number 11.
Even though he wasn't the physical father of Jesus, he was going to be the earthly father of Jesus and was given the responsibility of raising him. So.
Okay. Let's see. Next up is census guy, taker, thing. So I have a Roman soldier, because the census. It says that Caesar Augustus made a decree that he was going to have a census taken, which is the counting of people in the land that they know of. They call it the world, but they didn't know about this place, United States. So, yeah, it was pretty much just like Jerusalem and stuff like that.
Yeah, their conquered world, the Romans' world that they had control over at the moment.
So this guy's sort of tricky to place. Right now he has no legs, and I have two studs stacked on top of each other, and we'll just connect them like that. See, and then we're making it so that it's like he's kneeling. We're gonna set one of his legs like that, and then put his other one so that that little indent right there in the middle between the foot and the top part of the leg is going in between, like on a stud, like that, and then we're just gonna sort of lay him on top like that,
And
like he's kneeling.
the reason that we're making him kneel is because the Bible says that in the end, every knee shall bow, and every tongue will confess that Jesus is Lord. So even if at that point the Romans were not supportive of Jesus and definitely did not believe in Jesus as Savior, they will eventually one day come to realize that, or they did, because
So
And the census in the story of the Nativity in Luke is the whole reason that Luke. I'm stuck in Star Wars right now.
first Jabba the
That-
Hutt, now Luke.
Yeah. So that Mary and Joseph had to go to Bethlehem anyways, because since a decree for a census was taken, they had to go back to the place of his birth, of Joseph's birth. And so the census taker is also representative of the reason that they had to go back to Bethlehem to begin with.
And probably the reason he's stuck on Star Wars is because yesterday, sorry, the
Guess you got a glimpse of Mom there. You have to slow it down to see it.
Probably the reason he's stuck on Star Wars is because, yesterday, one of the best series ever, Star Wars, number 8 just came out. I mean, like.
Okay.
We
We're
should probably
seeing
get
it
back.
Monday.
Yeah, refocus.
Okay, so anyway, number 13 is a donkey. This is sort of poorly built. I built it myself, but it's poorly built. I built it myself.
But it's poorly built.
Yeah. So
I'm not a very silent videographer, am I?
yeah. No, you aren't. Kellen, you can take that one if you want.
So the donkey was never actually mentioned in the Bible. It's just kind of something that we've added on because we thought, like, in general, when we think of the Nativity, we think of Mary arriving in Bethlehem right as she's about to have Jesus. But in reality, it says in Luke that while they were there. So that means that they've been in Bethlehem a while, and they really wouldn't risk taking the very, very long trip if Mary was that pregnant, because it would just really not be good for her. It'd be very risky for her. And really the only reason that we had Imagine the Donkey is because Mary, who's 9 months pregnant, wouldn't really be able to walk all that way. She'd have to ride on the donkey. But it could still be symbolic, as Jesus did ride into Jerusalem on a donkey at the beginning of Passover before he was crucified. And also they could have used his donkey to like carry luggage or ride on occasionally or things like that. So it's just kind of a typical nativity character.
Do you guys remember how far it was from Nazareth, where they lived, to Bethlehem, where they had to go to?
A whiles away.
It was like a 7 to 10 day walk.
70 miles, I think is what it was. And that was no small task then. So yeah, it took weeks and weeks to walk that.
So we're gonna set the donkey. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna set him right back here. And so anyway, that's why we chose him for number 13. I'm gonna go kill that soldier. Hold on, I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. Okay, number 14. The barn or cave, which is what I've been telling you to ignore. So no longer ignore it. It never says in the Bible either that it was in a cave or a barn. That's what we will suspect, because it did say that there was no room for Mary and Joseph in the inn. And really, depending on the place where they were, Bethlehem, it was going to be either a cave or a barn where they would stay. So it's just what people think.
Yeah, it was a Jewish custom at the time for people to stay with family members if they came to town. But because everybody had come back to town, there was no room for them in people's houses, in the guest houses, the guest rooms, or anything like that. So nobody knows for sure what it meant by where the no room at the inn, other than there was no room in the guest house, or the guest room. So as we just assume, because of the word manger, which we're going to talk about in a minute, that they went to a stable or a barn or some kind of place where the animals were kept because of what that was. So the way Jewish houses worked at the time was there was a lower level that the main family stayed in, and there was a upper level, which was the guest house, and then between those there was like a ledge or some kind of you'd almost call it like a carport kind of thing, where the animals that needed to come in for the night because of not being able to protect themselves very well would come in and stay in this area, and there would be a manger there for them to feed out of. So those are all possibilities of what it could have been.
Of course, we don't know exactly, because that was like a long time ago. So that's number 14. Now, number 15 is the manger, which I cleverly built all by myself. And this is what Jesus was laid in. In which it actually does say that in the Bible, that he was laid in a manger. And like my dad said earlier, that's why we assume it was either in a cave or a barn, because a manger is like a trough that animals eat out of. So, yeah.
Also, a manger, like, no one would put their newborn baby in a manger unless out of absolute necessity. And Jesus is the King of the world. That's very humbling for him to be born in a stable and laid in a manger. But, like, that's just symbolic of how he came down to be with us and on our level, instead of being this all high and mighty king who was just kind of watching everyone from his high mountaintop.
Because keep in mind that the Jews of the time, were looking for a Messiah, but they were looking for a Messiah to be a physical king over them to help them defeat the Romans. So if he was born into some kind of royal family looking thing, that probably would have accentuated that belief that that's what he was there for. When he wasn't there to save the Jewish people from the Romans, he was there to save the world from their sins.
So we're going to set the manger right in between Mary and Joseph. Like that. It doesn't pop in or anything, it just sort of sits there. So that's why we chose the manger for number 15. Now, number 16 is King Herod, the king of the Jews, which I'm having trouble getting his crown on. Who cares? I do. So he's the king of the Jews, and he also plays a big role in this because, well, he's known, and he also sort of kept the wise men on going. Don't you think?
Yeah, we're actually introducing him a little early as a character because his character really, in the chronological, doesn't really enter in until after the birth, really, because he has more to do with the, at least in the story, anyways, with the wise men's coming to see Jesus and with the gifts and all that kind of stuff. But I felt like he was an important character introduced a little bit early because he was the king of the Jews. He was assigned by Caesar to rule over Jerusalem and the Jewish people at this time as kind of like the governor, I guess, of the Jewish people. And so he took very seriously any threats that would come to him, to his attention, to his rule on the throne. And so he would kill family members like sons and I don't guess daughters, but I'm not sure, but I know sons for attempting to, or what he perceived as an attempt at his throne. So with Jesus being come and called the King of the Jews by the wise men, he set in play a plot to try to get Jesus killed. But
Okay.
he was king. I think he was king of the Jews at the time of his birth.
So we're going to set Herod, we're going to put his arms back, and he's going to sort of face down right over here like he's angry. Grr. Grr. Don't fall over. Grr. Does it look like he's angry?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I'd say so.
So, because, his wise men failed him. So, actually, he didn't fail him. An angel came to the wise men in a dream. We'll talk about that later. So, yeah, that's number 16 and all we have today. So,
High five. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job.
so subscribe, comment, and like the video, and especially comment if you want to see how to build any of this stuff. So, see you later, and see you next time. Bye.
Peace.